So once again, the theme for Green Bay this offseason is going to be what is going to happen with Aaron Rodgers. We saw in his press conference after the loss to the Lions that he's going to take the next little while and decide if he wants to play football coming into 2023 or if he may want to retire after this 2022 season. So with that being the case, the Packers' entire future hinges on this decision. If he comes back and the Packers want to have him, and it's an if because Rodgers did say he has a feeling that he doesn't know if the desire is mutual for him to come back and play once again. Brian Gutekunst said a couple months ago that the intention when they signed Rodgers to that 3-year deal, was to have him back for multiple years. But Rodgers seemed to think in this interview and an interview a couple months ago that the Packers may not actually want to have him back. So if Rodgers did want to come back, but the Packers don't want to have him, maybe a trade happens. So there's many different scenarios that could go down. And I really think that Rodgers right now doesn't know what he's going to do. It sounded from his press conference after the game that he really is going to take the next month or so, who knows exactly how long, and really figure out what he wants to do. If he thinks he wants to come back and play another year of football or multiple years, who knows. But Tom Brady had an interesting podcast the other day with Steve Young, and he had a few different things to say about Rodgers, and so I want to read the quotes from Tom Brady. So I got these quotes from an article on Sports Illustrated by Bill Huber. So Brady says here, "Those are absolutely legitimate feelings and emotions," referring to Rodgers' press conference. Brady said of Rodgers' post-game news conference following Sunday's season-ending loss to the Detroit Lions, "I think the important thing is the day after the season, and I made this mistake during his brief retirement, is not to decide the future." So Brady, of course, decides to retire last year. A little later, he's like, you know what? Actually, that wasn't a good idea. I'm actually coming back once again. And then he says, "Aaron, in my belief, is spectacular. He can obviously continue to play, and he has all the ability in the world to do that. And there's a lot of other things that come into play, and he'll make that decision when it's right for him, and everyone should give him the time and space to do it." And there's probably lots of different things going through Aaron Rodgers' mind right about now. Probably a little disappointed from the way the season ended. Coming into 2022, it really seemed like the Packers had a chance to make a playoff run and to not even get the playoffs. That clearly hurts. And Rodgers was asked in the press conference after the game if he may sort of feel like he needs to come back to prove something because of the way the Packers went out, ending the game with an interception. And he said that really no, he's proved all he needs to prove in the league, and he doesn't really feel the need to come back and prove anything, even though he may want to return and play if that's what he decides. But he sounded pretty at peace with his entire career, which is similar to how he sounded last year. And so maybe he leaves, decides he wants to retire. Maybe he leaves in a couple months, says, you know what, I still got another year in me. And then it comes down to, do the Packers want him back once again? So there's so many differing scenarios that could happen and different things that would happen depending on Rodgers' decision. And it's going to be interesting to follow throughout the entire offseason. But I wanted to get Tom Brady's thoughts on the situation. That's all I have for this video. If you guys want to stay up to date with all Packers news, feel free to subscribe, and I'll see you guys next time.